Welcome to Christine's Faith Over Fear podcast, where tests become testimonies, fear gives way to faith, and real conversations inspire intentional living. Our guest today is Jeff Pearson, speaker, author, business owner, TV host, and executive director of Hydro with Hope, a nonprofit providing practical resources and encouragement to families affected by hydrocephalus.
Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Faith-Filled Friday. I am so glad it is the weekend, you guys. It has been a busy week, but it has been a blessed week. So welcome to Christine's Faith Over Fear podcast. My name is Christine Bailey, and I am your host for this evening. So I have another phenomenal special guest on my show tonight. His name is Mr. Jeff Pearson. Jeff is the host of Invisible Condition, which airs on E360 TV. The program highlights people who are living fulfilling lives despite medical conditions that are not immediately visible to others. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeff on stage with me so we can get this conversation started.
All right.
Well, hello, Jeff.
Hello. Thank you, Christine. This is amazing. I love it. Bring it on.
Welcome. You're welcome. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So you were diagnosed with a condition at an early age. Can you tell us a little bit about that condition that you were diagnosed with, Jeff?
Absolutely. It is a condition called hydrocephalus, and it's loosely translated. Some people like to call it water on the brain. Hydrocephalus occurs when there's a blockage in the brain that doesn't allow the fluid that your brain is always producing fluid. It produces about a quart a day of something called cerebral spinal fluid automatically. It just produces it all day. And normally it'll just drain down the spinal column through canals in the brain called ventricles, and just go down the spinal column, reabsorb into the body. It's a beautiful process, continuous all day, every day. For me, one of those ventricles was blocked, and so the fluid was not able to drain as fast as it needed to, and so it was starting to store fluid around my brain and my skull, and there's only so much room up there. Can't store too much up there before it starts causing problems. And so at my 2-week checkup, they did all the same measurements they do at birth. How long is the baby? How much does the baby weigh? And one of the important measurements is this measurement here around the head. And the brilliant physician that was at that doctor's office that had that checkup at 2 weeks old said, "Oof, that measurement's just about a 1 centimeter, just 1 centimeter off. Let's get a CAT scan, make sure everything's okay." Mm-hmm. And they did the CAT scan, found out there was a blockage in there, and determined it was hydrocephalus. And so my introduction to the world at 2 weeks old was emergency brain surgery. So. There you go. And the rest is history.
Now, Jeff, how many surgeries have you had to have?
So to date, I'm 49 now, 49 years old now. And since that diagnosis, I've had 15 surgeries, 7 brain surgeries included in there, but 15 surgeries overall. And they're all hydrocephalus related. They're all, in one way or another affected by that crazy condition. So, I'm 15 in. So.
Now, what was the most recent surgery that you had? How many years ago was that?
Well, the most recent surgery I had was a gallbladder surgery in 22, but the most recent hydrocephalus related surgery was brain surgery in October of 2021 to replace the shunt that's in there doing its job. So 2021, so almost 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Now, does that shunt have to be replaced often, or do they check it every so often?
Well, good question. On average, first of all, let me just say this: hydrocephalus. I know. There's probably a lot of people going, "Hydro what?" I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that before. Hydrocephalus is a ridiculously common condition. Affects millions and millions of people all over the country, all over the world, really. There are over 400,000 babies born somewhere in the U.S. to have one of these shunts worked on every 15 minutes. So, and on average, this is kind of my roundabout answer to your question. On average, people are having brain surgery to replace these shunts every 2 to 3 years. So I have escaped that average, thank God.
Yeah.
In 49 years, I've had 7 brain surgeries. If I were keeping up with the averages, I probably would have had 3 times that many. So, so I'm very thankful that I'm not keeping up with that. 7
Yeah.
is okay. 7's good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Now, Jeff, what inspired you to create Invisible Condition?
I don't believe in, there's no such thing as an accidental introduction in my mind. God knows what he's doing, and he connects people where he sees fit to accomplish his mission. And so I was connected with a amazing young woman named Julianne Meyer in 2022 at a conference that I was there. It was a networking conference in Denver, and somebody said, "You got to meet Julianne." And I said, "Who the heck is Julianne, and why do I need to meet her?" And so we introduced each other and she said, "Well, tell me your story." And I said, "Oh, not a story. I don't. What do you mean? Tell you my story? I'm just a normal kid." But when we started talking, I kind of got into the conversation, and anytime somebody hears 7 brain surgeries, that's kind of unique. So she said, "Well, let's talk about that." And so we kind of just went down the rabbit hole for a minute, and she said, "Well, that sounds like a fascinating topic. Let's talk about that as a TV show." So that's kind of how it got started. And then a couple, 2, 3 months later, I had gone through a little education, to kind of learn how to do some of the things and have a successful show. And in April of 23, we launched the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing. Now, has there been any specific or certain guest on your show whose testimony changed your own perspective on faith or perseverance?
Oh man, I say it. People that have been watching probably get sick of me saying this, but I say, man, I learned something today again. I learned something new every single episode. And there's so many incredible guests that I've had on. I mean, we've been on since April 4th of 23. I think it's just over 350 episodes that are out there. And so we're on every Tuesday and Friday at noon Eastern for an hour every week, and it's been 3 years. And so to narrow it down to a specific guest or two would be really tough. But there have been so many. There was a professional snowmobiler that was buried in an avalanche during a video shoot. That was a guest on my show, and he suffered traumatic brain injuries and had to learn how to walk and talk and eat and operate in life all over again. He had just so many broken bones, and he was just in rough shape. But after his recovery, he's a world-class speaker. He's a best-selling author. He's out there changing the world, kicking butt and taking names. There's people that have created apps to make people's lives easier. With medical conditions. There's people that have created entire nonprofits around the condition they live with to help others so that they don't have to go through the same thing, that they had to suffer through to get answers. There's just been so many life-changing episodes that, and I think the proof is in the pudding. Our audience has grown so much. It's grown every single month we've been on the air. I've never dipped in viewership. God willing, I never do. It's just we've grown so much, and so the guests are amazing. I'm sorry I can't narrow one down, but there's
That's Okay.
come check it out, and you'll find your favorite episode too.
Now, Jeff, how has your diagnosis become a ministry instead of a limitation for you?
Man, I think that's a great question. I credit that to my parents. It has become a ministry, and I credit that to my parents. When I was a kid, I like I said, I didn't think I had a story. I just figured everybody had surgery, like, a dozen times by the time they were out of elementary school. Um, but that was because when I was a kid, I don't even remember the whole conversation, but I remember them. I remember the mentality being instilled in me that, Jeff, you're normal. You're a normal kid. Go play. Go scrape your knees, break your arm, whatever. Go skateboard. Go you ride your bike. You're just a kid. Go be a kid. They could have gone a very different route and said, you're sick. You have a thing in your head. We want to protect you at all costs. And here's your bubble. Climb in, and
Yes.
here's your helmet for everywhere we go. I mean, they made me feel so normal, and it was just, go do your thing. And so, yeah, that's growing up. I broke my arm skateboarding one day. I've been snowboarding since I was 16 years old. There's I have no limitations because they set me up to believe that. So, that's, I don't know. That's my answer. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but that's what I think of when you ask that question. That's where my brain goes, is to my parents setting me up like that. So,
Now, how has hosting the show strengthened your own faith, Jeff?
oh man. It has strengthened my faith in that it's it's strengthened my hope. Honestly, my faith, which is hope in Jesus, right? That's where my faith is Jesus
Hmm.
Christ. And so I'm a Jesus follower. So the hope is where I rest, and I think just hearing all the stories, just
Yeah.
hearing all the amazing stories of all the different people that have, it's I don't want to say I don't want to say that it, like, oh well, man, I didn't have it as bad as that person, or man, they had so many more surgeries than me. I can't, it's not about comparison.
Right.
It's about learning about all these amazing people from around the world. I've had guests from every continent on the planet, and
Hmm.
they're all the common thread is that they didn't let their condition define them, and they didn't let their condition stop them from doing something awesome.
Yeah.
So that's that's the thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What does living with purpose look like for you each day?
Oof. Man, that's a good question too. Um, living with purpose. I think that's a very intentional thing to do. You've got to be intentional to be able to live with
Yeah.
purpose, to live on purpose, right? To live the purpose that God's got you here. You can't drift through life and be living a life of purpose. You've got to be on purpose. And so I think I think that would be the main thing I would say is, just you can't just drift, you know.
Right.
It's drifting doesn't that's that's like saying, where are we going? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. We don't need a map or anything, do we? Let's just start walking and see where we end up. Uh no, no, can't do that.
Yeah. No, that's not good.
That
That's
doesn't get
not.
anybody anywhere. No,
No,
no.
no, it does not. No, it does not.
Oh
Now, are there any misconceptions about invisible illnesses that you would like to change?
man. The biggest thing one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm speaking, on a stage in front of a live crowd, or on a podcast or another TV show, or on my own show, I
Mhm.
like to tell the story, and everybody's seen this. It's probably just a hypothetical story, but everybody's seen this. And this is the misconception that's out there: is you see the car pull into the car parking spot at the post office, the grocery store, wherever, and they pull in the handicap spot, and they've got the plates, they've got the placard, whatever they, you're expecting somebody to get out that's in a wheelchair. You're getting, right? Come on, let's be real, everybody. Let's be honest with ourselves and know that this is our misconception. This is our assumption, right? Somebody that has a condition is going to be hunched over or in a wheelchair or needing assistance all the time, on crutches. So you're at the store, you see the person pull into the spot, some man or woman or something jumps out of the car, kind of walks in with purpose, walks into the store, comes out with their bags, puts them in the car, drives away, and you think to yourself, let's be real here, let's be honest with each other. You think to yourselves, they stole grandma's car with the handicap plates just so they could park closer. That jerk. Yeah. Right? They're like, that's the first thing that pops into some people's minds, right? What they don't think about is maybe that person that looked perfectly normal, had to take a 2-hour nap and an extra dose of their medication that morning so that they could go to that store, get what they needed for that half hour, and then go home and they pass out on the couch for the rest of the day. That might be the only thing they do all day.
Right.
But you don't see all that. You just see the few minutes that you see them at the store, and they automatically form a judgment there. And I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm just saying it's an automatic thing, though, right?
Yeah.
That's what I like to think about and think, well, and I had that misconception. I mean, honestly, from my first surgery at 2 weeks old all the way through 36 years old, I bounced back like a rubber band from every surgery, man. And then it wasn't until about 2013 where things started to really have a lasting impact on my health with these surgeries. And so I'm guilty of it too. I would think, well, man, how come they can't get around? Or, but then I started to experience some of those symptoms too. I'm like, oh no, whoops, my bad, I get it now, so yeah, sometimes it takes that rude kick in the butt from life to give you some of that life experience that humbles you a little bit, so yeah.
What would you say, how can people become better advocates for those living with invisible challenges?
Oh man, first of all, talk to some people with some invisible challenges. Don't be afraid of them. Yeah. You see somebody in a wheelchair, you see somebody walking around with crutches, that are having trouble, don't. Man, I just had somebody on my new show who is a Paralympic silver medalist, and he has a prosthetic leg. And one of his stories that he tells is he was in an airport and he had his leg kind of up, like crossed, over his other leg, and he had his pant leg pulled up so you could see the prosthetic leg. And some kids, family saw him, and the kids started asking questions, and they were like, "Mom, what's going on over there?" And instead of saying, "Oh, what's going on?" Instead of whispering, they just went up to him and said, "Hey, what's going on here? Tell me about this. I've never met anybody with a prosthetic leg. How did that happen? Was it this? Was it that? Tell me a story." And that's the biggest thing. You want to get rid of fear. You want to get rid of misconceptions. You want to get rid of, people treating each other poorly. Don't be afraid to have the conversations. Don't be afraid to have the hard conversations. That would have been that's a kind of an awkward conversation sometimes. So don't be afraid to talk to people. It's what'll help. It's always okay to have that conversation. So
Now, Jeff, how do you encourage someone who feels unseen because of their struggle with unseen conditions, invisible conditions?
Oh man, I think the first thing I would say is I see you, because I get it. I see you, I hear you, I understand you. You have a voice. By the way, you do have a voice, and you do have a community, even if you haven't found it yet.
Yes.
Even with a really common thing like breast cancer or or prostate cancer, or hydrocephalus. 400,000 babies born with it every year, right? That's pretty common.
Yeah.
We still feel all by ourselves sometimes. We feel so isolated sometimes when we're sitting in that freezing cold operating room waiting to go under for another brain surgery. It's just you and the doctor, and you can feel so alone. So I think that's the biggest thing. If you encounter, I mean, first of all, don't be afraid. They're people just like you. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and me.
Yes.
And they need human interaction. They want to be included. They want to be loved, just like everybody. Like everybody's the same in that respect. You know, we're all part of the human race. We're all part of the human experience, and we all need that contact, that conversation. You know.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's real. So.
Yeah. Why is storytelling such a powerful tool for healing and
Why is storytelling so powerful for healing and
hope?
hope? I think because it doesn't have to be from your experience. Like
Yeah.
it could be from somebody else's experience. You could be telling somebody else's story to give somebody hope. You know, it doesn't always have to. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to know everything about everything to give somebody hope about. I don't know. I just interviewed somebody on my show today that's living with a condition called PCOS.
Mm.
I've only had one other person on the show with that condition. I don't know a lot about that,
Mm-hmm.
but I can give her hope in her condition because I have lived with an invisible condition too. There's that commonality. And so, looking for that commonality between everybody, you know? Yeah. I hope that answered your question. I felt like I went on a little bit of a rabbit trail there. Chased a squirrel over there a little bit for a minute. So. It happens once in a while, right?
Every once in a while. Now, how have you experienced God's faithfulness through every season of your life?
Oh, I love that. That brings tears to my eyes. Oh, Christine, what a question. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Jesus has been faithful. I'll tell you what, that is 100% true. I cannot shout that from the mountaintops enough. How does it, ask me that question again. Say that again.
How have you experienced God's faithfulness through every season of your life?
Man. Okay. So I would say there's been like maybe 3 seasons so far of my life. Three main seasons. Growing up, where there was a whole bunch of surgery, whole bunch of, there was a whole bunch. There was like 9 surgeries between, birth and 18 years old. And so that was one season. I saw his faithfulness all over the place in that season, in that, first of all, I made it through all the surgeries. I'm still here.
And
I came out of all those brain surgeries the same person I was that I went into the surgery as, because you go poking around in the brain, you never know what you're going to get.
that's
So
true.
there's people that have had very severe side effects from that I have, by the grace of God, I've escaped.
Yeah.
And so that I feel like he saved me from a lot of things that could have gone very wrong and gone very bad with all those surgeries, that many surgeries in that short amount of time. And then the next season was, 18 and on, and I had a nice long 18-year break with no surgery, no complications or anything, where my wife and I got married at 22 years old. By the way, my wife and I met when we were in 7th grade band class. So we knew each other for a long time. We got married at 22, and then there was about 18 years between 18 and 36 where we got married. We had 3 kids. We got started careers and house and all the things. And so that was another season where I think God set us apart and saved us from a lot of things that really, maybe it was like, okay, let's get you set here. Let's get you let's get you ready. Let's get you connected as a family, and get going down that track, and show my faithfulness to you, and that I'm gonna provide these children for you, and provide this life and these jobs and all this cool stuff. And then the third phase, I think, which we're still in, I suppose, is from about 36 on, and I'm 49 now, so about 13 years where it was a little hairy for a while, but the faithfulness never left. I mean, he saw me through emergency brain surgeries. He saw me through emergency abdominal surgeries. He saw me through wicked, crazy side effects like nonstop migraines for a whole year after one of the surgeries. Large motor tics that basically took over my body on the right side of my body for about 2 years after one of the other surgeries. I mean, crazy stuff that would just wreck some people.
Yeah.
Almost wrecked me a couple times. I mean, I was done. I was desperate to get rid of this stuff, But he was faithful, and he provided, and he knew that this was coming, so he put me in a work situation with a person that I worked as an independent contractor with for 12 years, from 2011 to 2023, that covered all those surgeries, and he never kicked me to the curb. Like, this guy kept me through all those surgeries and helped me to earn income during that time. And like, that season was so cool, seeing God's faithfulness financially and seeing God's faithfulness relationally, being able to stay in that world of being able to do some work here and there, even though I just had brain surgery, So thank you, Eric. Eric Rupp is the gentleman that I was working with all those years as a contractor, and he has a company out there that's a investigations and security company, and it was a dream gig for me. I absolutely loved working with him, and he stuck with me and my family through all of that. So if you happen to be watching, or anybody that knows Eric in Colorado Springs, he's an amazing human being, and his family is incredible, and I love them dearly, and I'm so thankful that that's where God led me for work, because that was another very, very faithfulness was everywhere during that time. So I think those are the three main. I mean, it's not over yet. I'm only 49, so it's not over yet. I'm sure there's more coming, but that's what came to mind. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, before we take a quick commercial break, I would just like to go to some of the comments that we have for tonight here.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have from Muthu. He says, God bless you, Christine Bailey and Jeff Pearson. Thank you so much, sir. And my sister-in-law, Gloria Phillips, good evening. Hey, sis. And then we have Words of Wellness. Hello. Thank you for your willingness to share your story.
Absolutely.
Man. Muthu says, Jeff, truly wonderful testimonies. God is always at work in your life.
Amen to that.
And then from Jonathan Kimbrough says, Happy Friday. You guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. Don't go nowhere. Grab your popcorn and your Coca-Cola. We'll be right back.
When God is truly first, everything finds its proper place. Discover alignment, peace, purpose, and strength in God alone with Christine Bailey's inspiring book, God is More Than Enough. Experience the transforming power of prayer. When you kneel before God, you can stand before anything, because prayer doesn't always change the situation first. Prayer changes the person inside the situation. It's time to choose faith and release fear. Strengthen your spirit, renew your mind, and walk in greater peace with the Faith Over Fear 30-day devotional collection. 4 powerful books. 1 transformational journey of faith, written by Christine Bailey to help you pray boldly, trust God completely, and live courageously. Begin your journey today with Christine Bailey's inspirational book collection.
All right, we're back. We're back. So, Jeff, let me ask you this. If someone remembers only one thing about Jeff Pearson, what do you hope it is? Oh, yeah, you're on. We can't hear you.
You're right. I am on mute. Yep. But I didn't want. I do that. I didn't want to make noise when I'm not supposed to make noise, so I muted it. Yeah. Ask me the question again. I'm sorry, Christine.
Okay. If someone remembers only one thing about Jeff Pearson, what do you hope it is?
Man, I hope they remember that first and foremost, I'm a child of God. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. And then everything else is only because God's allowed me to do it.
Man.
Running a nonprofit, speaking on stages all over the world, hosting a TV show, being an author, running a nonprofit, being I mean, all the things, the travel, the fun, the things we've been able to do, the crazy we've been to experiencing. All of it is only because God is faithful first.
Yeah.
So, and the one thing that I've realized is life doesn't have to be perfect to be awesome. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. It can be you can experience awesome in the midst of crazy. It's possible. Um, I'm living proof. Ask my wife anytime, man. We laugh and laugh and laugh every day, no matter what we're going through, because you gotta laugh. And
Yes.
so, yeah, I think that would be it.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your nonprofit organization.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Our nonprofit is called Hydro with Hope. And I wanted to spare everybody from having to spell and say that long word every time. So, hydrocephalus. Hydro is short for hydrocephalus, but Hydro with Hope. And so we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and our main goal, there are so many nonprofits out there that focus on so many conditions. There's several out there that are wonderful, doing amazing things to focus on hydrocephalus and families dealing with that condition. I'm the boots on the ground guy. There's organizations out there that are focused on let's develop a better medical device to help people so they don't have to have surgery so often, or let's tweak the surgical experience this way, or let's recovery. No, that's not me. I'm not that technical. I'm the guy that wants to be boots on the ground, that hugs the neck of the family that's going through it, and spends time with them in the waiting room in the hospital, and gets them a copy of our journal so that they can have a record of everything that happened in that hospital visit and that surgical experience and everything, so that when they go to the follow-up, they're not caught with nothing to say. They don't have to rely on their memory to remember the questions they wanted to ask the doctor. So all the things that I wish I would have had during all those surgeries is what our goal is to help provide that practical boots on the ground stuff for families. And so the journal is one of them. Honestly, just I love just talking to families. If people need help, shoot me an email. Our email will be in the links and everything. I mean, Jeff at hydrowithhope.com. I mean, shoot me an email, and we can. I'm happy to get on a Zoom call if you're struggling, man. If you've lost hope over a situation, that's hope is a big deal for me, and so
Yeah.
that's why we named it that. And so that's kind of what we're here for. We like to speak for organizations, to tell our story, and tell my wife's story. She's an amazing speaker in her own right.
Hmm.
Um, we go on stages together because there's two sides to that story, right? The caregiver side and the side of the person going through it. And so we just, it's all about spreading hope.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Now, Joe, what legacy do you hope Invisible Condition leaves for a future generation?
Oh man, I'm so glad you asked that. It's a great question. Invisible condition, I think, has already left a pretty cool legacy. I mean, I get comments from people all the time that they watch certain shows. Even people that want to be on the show will watch shows first to prepare to who is this guy? Why are we talking to this guy? What experience does he have? And so they'll watch shows and they'll see these amazing stories of these guests that have lived through crazy circumstances, incredible, death-defying, defying all the odds and all that stuff. And so I think it's already starting to create one. We're only 3 years in, but I feel like it's already evidenced in that our audience has grown so much. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people every month coming to watch our show and get, hear all these stories. And I think the legacy that I hope it leaves long term. I mean, we're 3 years in, but long term, I just hope it's a legacy of just learning from people's stories that there is always hope. There's always hope. No matter what you're going through, no matter how dark it is, no matter how hopeless the situation feels, there is always hope. You have to believe that. I've seen too much in my own life I refuse to believe that there isn't. So I think that's the legacy, is hope.
And what would you say to someone who feels like that their diagnosis or their condition has become their identity?
Oof, man. Yeah. That's common. That's not a rare thing, unfortunately. I want to be careful here because I know that can be a very sensitive thing because it's kind of a double-edged sword in my mind, because some people search for years to find that proper diagnosis and get the help they need. And sometimes getting that diagnosis is very freeing. It's almost sounds weird to say it like that, but it's freeing to say, I'm within the boundaries of this condition now, but now I know where the boundaries are, right? And I can now I have a frame of reference for life. This is the condition. At the same time, that might be the frame of reference, but it should never define. I will say, when people ask me about hydrocephalus, I never say, well, I'm not going to say what I never say. I'll say, I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus at 2 weeks old. I don't own it and it doesn't own me. Right. I was diagnosed with this condition and I've been treated very, very effectively by many, many doctors and surgeons and anesthesiologists and nurses over the years, and I'm very thankful for that. I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus. I do not identify as a sick person. I identify with somebody who was given a diagnosis when I was 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
So, because you don't have to. Honestly, I think it's healthy for when you're first learning the diagnosis, especially if it takes you a few years. Sometimes it takes a few years to get that diagnosis right with some conditions, right? Some people struggle along for a long time before they get that, and then it's like a godsend when they get the diagnosis. It's like, finally, we know what we're dealing with, But then you got to make sure that your identity isn't in that condition. Your identity is, well, in Jesus, honestly, but your diagnosis is in here, not in the diagnosis.
What dreams or projects are you still believing God for?
I am so excited you asked me that. There is one that I am very excited about because of some things that have happened over the last couple of years with a co-host that I now have on the show a couple times a month. I am not planning on any more brain surgeries, God willing. I mean, he's in charge. If he thinks I need to go through another one, I'll go through another one. I know he'll carry me through it. But as far as I can tell, all roads point to 7 being the end of the journey for brain surgery for Jeff. So I came to that realization and said, you know what? I'm going to launch a new show. And so I have a new show coming out in the next month or two called 6 Degrees of Impact. And I'm really excited about that show because it's still about hope. It's still about human connection. It's just more in the kind of in that business world, right? The 6 degrees of separation type concept. And so I'm really excited to see where that show goes, and see where stories of hope come from that. We also have a community that we've created. The initials are ICU because I wanted to kind of relate to that medical world, and then also kind of I see you, right? Because you're not invisible. Hello. And so invisible condition, I had it named a different thing. We're still coming up with a word for you, but I think it's going to be invisible condition you, YOU, like it's all about you as the person, right? And I wanted, and so it's an online community that I created because I felt like once you leave the hospital, it's like they almost forget your name, and it's hard to go back there for answers because the patients are just going through, right? And it's like, okay, you're done, you're out, go recover. And if you have questions, you got to find them on your own. And that's experience we had with all those surgeries. And so we thought, well, we got to create a place where people can come to get those answers. And so that's what we're crafting ICU to be, is a place where people can come and come as you are, no judgment, no, we're just here to talk, let's figure it out. You're experiencing this. Who else has experienced it? What did you do to help it? So that's a couple things I'm really excited about because these are all things that I wish I would have had 10 years ago, a place to do this. So, yeah. So thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff, where can people watch Invisible Condition and learn more about your mission and support the work that you're doing?
Wow. Thank you. Yes, you can go to, I have actually a specific Zephy link for our nonprofit where you can give monthly or you can give one time. So I'll make sure that Christine has that link. So that's the nonprofit. Our website is hydrowithhope.com where you can find the journal. And then as far as the show goes, there's the show right there in case you hadn't noticed me drinking out of the cup. So that's the show. And these are all the places I did this on purpose. I did,
Wow.
So there you go. E360 TV is our network, which hangs out in the same world as Apple TV, Tubi TV, Pluto TV. We're a digital network. We're on the Arion TV channel, and we're also under the health and wellness tab, kind of like Netflix is like, here's the categories, and then here's right? So we're on the Arion TV channel on E360 TV, and then we're also under the health and wellness tab. So, but you can also, every show day, we broadcast to E360, our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our LinkedIn, and my personal LinkedIn page. So lots of places to watch every Tuesday and Friday at noon Eastern. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for that opportunity to get that out there. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let me ask you this. What role has gratitude played in your healing and your outlook on life?
Oh man. Oh, so I'm glad you asked me that. There's a story I got to tell about that. So I know stories and movie quotes, man. That's me. So so when I was in the hospital for 2 back-to-back brain surgeries in 2014, and I was in there for 3 weeks. I was in there for 20 days, and I started getting a little cranky, about it. I was like, God, why am I still here? This is ridiculous. They were basically pumping me full of antibiotics because they found a bacterial infection, and they wanted to get rid of it before they did the brain surgery, right? So. But I was in there and I was like, God, all they're doing is just pumping me full of antibiotics. When are we going to get to this surgery? Get me out of here, And my dad, I love my parents are amazing. They have been so instrumental in all this. And my dad looked at me and basically said, you know what, son, suck it up, Buttercup. They are here to help you. this medical staff is here because first of all, they don't have a choice. They have to be here. They work here. And so they're here to help you. So you need to snap out of it. Realize that you have an amazing staff of medical personnel that are knocking themselves out and bending themselves backward to help you. And so snap out of it, basically. I don't think that's exactly what he said, but that's what I heard. And so I started keeping track of all. I was like, okay, what can I do to show gratitude? So I had started already writing down all the names of all the help, all the help, people that helped me, whether they came in to change the sheets on the bed, or whether they came in to bring me food, or the nurse for that day, or the doctors, whoever. And I kind of grabbed a glimpse of their name badge and wrote their name down. And at the end of that, when I walked out of that hospital room before I left, I wrote down every single name on the whiteboard that they have there. And I wrote thank you real big and wrote every single person's name down, and then just left. I didn't draw any attention to it. I just wrote it on there. And then about a month later, I was there for a follow-up, and I brought everybody cookies.
Oh.
So, dropped off a bunch of cookies, and brought it to the floor that I was on. So, because my dad was right. You got to be grateful, man. I wouldn't be here without them. So
Right.
Adjust your attitude, son. So, and that has stuck with me. And sometimes I got to snap myself out of it and bring myself back to that. But yes, it is a regular part of my mindset now, so, for sure.
Now, there is one of the messages that you often share is that labels means limits.
That is a double-edged sword. Labels are a double-edged sword because, and this is what I mean by that. So, yes, it's important when you're going undiagnosed and you're going through, oh, let's try this medication. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Oh, let's try this medication. Oh, let's do this diagnosis. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's the. I get it. That diagnosis is important because it helps you. This is the treatment we need now, right? And you've got a framework and a plan now to go forward. But also, and you can't let it define you. Those labels are only there. They're only there so that the doctors know which room to put you in. Honestly, at the hospital, right? They're there to say, oh, Jeff, he goes to the neuro floor because he needs to go to the 4th floor at Memorial Central in Colorado Springs because that's the neuro floor, because that's where people go that need brain surgery. Whoa, there's a heart thing. Okay, you got to go to the 5th floor, and because that's where the cardiac is. That's the reason for the label, and that's an important thing because you want the right people doing the right thing to help you. But you can't let it define you. You once you leave the hospital, I'm Jeff. I'm not hydrocephalus patient number 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. I'm Jeff Pearson. I'm a child of God. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. So labels are okay. They have their place, but they can't define you.
Yeah.
They just can't.
Yeah.
So, or they shouldn't. I should say.
True.
Yeah.
True. Jeff, before we end tonight, is there anything that you would like to share, any words of encouragement or anything to give to anyone that may be listening in the audience or just wherever they may be? Any final words?
Oh, let's see. Yes, I do. If you don't mind, I'm gonna grab the journal here real quick and just read a couple lines out of there that are in the. There's a section in here that says about Jeff, and because I wanted to make sure they knew that I was like, who is this guy? What qualifies this guy to write a book? So I have a little blurb in here about me and why we wrote the book. And there's a section at the very end here at the bottom of the page, and it says, look, having lived with hydrocephalus for almost 50 years, I can say 3 things with 100% certainty. Number 1, God is faithful all the time. Number 2, God is in control. That's a good thing.
Amen.
And number 3, life does not have to be perfect to be amazing. So that's how I roll, man. And so that's in there for a reason, because that's been something I've carried with me for a long time. So I hope that helps.
Amen. Amen. Well, you guys, you've heard it here. Mr. Jeff Pearson, I thank you so much for joining me on tonight, Jeff. It has certainly been an honor.
Thank you, Christy. The honor is mine. I am so glad we got to put this together. And by the way, everybody, she was a guest on my show first. So go to the Invisible Condition YouTube channel, Facebook page, go to E360, she's in season 8 or season 7 or season, I don't even remember, but she's in there. She's a recent episode in there. Go find Christine's episode and watch it, because she's amazing. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are
Thank you.
certainly welcome. You are certainly welcome. So remember, you guys, it is faith over fear, purpose over pain, and God is above and over everything. Until next time, you guys be safe. Thank you for all the love and support, and have an amazing night. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us on Christine's Faith Over Fear podcast, where we turn tests into testimonies and choose faith over fear. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep believing, keep moving forward, and keep walking in faith.